Hello students, in this video we're going to be looking at finding solutions to quadratics from either a graph or a table. So first off, they give us y equals x squared plus 6x plus 8, so I'm going to use the calculator to create a table of values. So here we have our table of values, and it started here at 0, but I want to show you the symmetry here. And right here we can see that this is our vertex because on either side of it we have the same numbers occurring, and you end up with this is your vertex and here is your symmetry. So let's just go ahead and copy down a few of these values into the table that's given to us. Now this is going to get a little too large. Like 15 and 24, they're too large for the graph space that we've been given. So we'll just be graphing between -6 and 0. So let's just go ahead and start here at 0, 8. And then -1 gives us a 3. And then -2 gives us a 0. -3 gives us a -1. And then we're back to 0. And then -5 is going to give us a 3. And -6 is going to give us an 8. So here we have our vertex. Here we have our solutions. And then just some other points on the graph. Here's our y-intercept. Alright, so here we have our vertex right here, and then our axis of symmetry goes through that vertex. So our vertex is here, going through the axis of symmetry. Then we have our zeros here. Here's our solution, or one solution, and then here's another solution. We know that these are solutions because their y values are 0. So here's one of them. And here's the other one. So here's how we find our solutions from either a graph or a table. So let's look at the next example. Go ahead and enter this into the calculator. We have -x squared minus 8x minus 15. And I want to go ahead and graph this one. I want you to notice how it is a graph that opens down because we have a negative in front of our x squared, so a is a negative number. So let's look at the table here. And this time, here is where our vertex is. So again, we're going to start at -7 up here. And just copy the table of values down from the calculator. Then 0 goes to -15, which is off our graph, and 1 goes to -24, and I'm just going to stop there. And I forgot to write our solutions down to the problem above. Sorry about that. Right here, our solutions are -4 and -2, and we'll write those down here in just a minute. So here we have a whole bunch of points, so let's go ahead and start graphing those. This is off the table, or off the graph they've given us, off the graph, but -1 will give me a -8. And then here's -8. -2 gives me a -3. -3 gives me a 0. -4 gives me a 1. And then we start back down. 0, -3, and then -8. So here we have a parabola. It has a maximum value here at 1. And it opens downward because of the -x squared. We find our solutions. Right here is a solution. And right here is a solution. And that is right here at -5 and at -3. So our solutions are -5 and -3. So then we need to open this up. We have different types of problems on the inside. So our first two are about finding x values from a graph whenever we are given a specific y value. So in this case, they have given us a function value of 9. So here's where the function is 9, and here's where the function is 9. So anywhere along this, y equals 9, right along here. And they want the positive value of x. Well, the positive value of x is over here, so this is the point we're looking for. And we just come down here and we see that x equals 3. So on number 2, this time they want the negative value of x, and they have the function equaling 4. So we come up here where the function equals 4 at this point and at this point. And the point we want is over here because this is where the x value is negative. So we just find where the graph itself equals a positive 4, and then we just follow that straight down to the x value being -1. In a table of values, sometimes they'll tell you that a specific number is a solution. So if 8 is a solution to g of x equals 0, that means we're looking in this column right here. We want this to be equal to 0. And they said that if 8 is, and that's kind of off the graph here, we could do that. What is the other solution? So we're looking for the other place where we see a 0 in the g of x column, and that would be x equals -1. Because here's where g of x is 0, and x being -1 gave g of x a value of 0. So down here in number 4, same basic thing. We have g of x equals 0, so we want this guy to be equal to 0. So that happens here, and it happens here. Well, they've told us that they know that -4 is one of the solutions, so they want to know what the other one is. If -4 is the one they told us about, then the other one is +4 for this graph, or this table. So we just say x equals 4. Then for here, they want to know what the values of x are when 0 equals the function, which basically means where does y equal 0? Well, y equals 0 all along here. Here's a point and here's a point. So these are our two solutions. Y equals 0 when x equals 6, and y equals 0 when x equals 8. For the last one, it says to list the number of solutions. If there are solutions, identify the two numbers of the solutions, identify what two numbers the solutions are between. So let's look at the graph. Here we have the graph. It does cross the x-axis here, and it crosses right here and right here. So it crosses between these two numbers on the left side and between these two numbers on the right side. It's neither a 0 or a 1 here, and it's neither -2 nor -3 on this side. So there actually are two solutions because it crossed the x-axis twice. And the first solution is between -3 and -2. And the last solution is between 0 and 1. We don't know exactly what it is, we just know it's between those two whole numbers. So these are some examples of how you can use a graph or a table to find your solutions to a quadratic.